So basically today I wanted to quickly chat to you about the who, what, where and why of content creation. Firstly, just a big thank you to the Local Buying Foundation for bringing this workshop or webinar series to you guys. And as Chrissy mentioned, I think we mentioned earlier, Chrissy, that these are all pre-recorded. So if you've missed the couple beforehand that Judy from Shift presented about your business, let me just get the title out here, about resetting your business, perhaps about personal resilience, and you need a little bit of a hand for that, you can certainly, request that from Chrissy or myself. I can send you the link to those webinars, and you can have the whole series. As we roll through, they'll be added to the Visit Mackay Regions YouTube channel. So they'll all be on demand for you to go back and revisit if you wanted to go then and apply some of the stuff that you've learned in real time to your own actions. So onward, let's discuss. I've had a chat to you all, which has been great. Some of you I'm familiar with, some of you have been with me before on webinars or I've met face to face, and some of you are new to me, which is lovely. So hi, I'm in Airlie Beach, and it is a beautiful spot to be in, as is Mackay. We're very blessed to have the region we have as our backyard, and that's going to be one of my big themes today, talking to you guys about how we move forward in terms of, I guess, reigniting and re-rolling into the business phase of this pandemic. And who has just popped up here? Oh, I've just got little bits and pieces popping up on my screen. It's great. So today's agenda, and look, as I said, I don't want this to be me talking at you for 2 hours. So please, as we go, if you've got questions or anything, even if you want to just unmute yourself and ask a question, just do it, because I'd much rather this be in sort of a workshop format rather than me just going one way at you guys. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you've got a dog beside you and you want to have that as a little participant, you want to show your puppy in the camera, we might have a special time for that at the end. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Oh, yes, thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so today's agenda, why is it so important to be present on social media right now? You might have been scratching your head going, oh God, I don't know what to say, quite simply. Like, I don't know whether what I'm saying will appear to be a bit tone deaf, or is it inappropriate, or, I'm not sure exactly what is the best thing to do. So yeah, it's a great question to ask, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that today. Who should we be talking to? Because our markets have changed. As Elizabeth said, she is no longer able to, but she can still talk to these people that might be coming to her from international, but realistically, they're not going to be coming to her potentially for another year. So we need to rethink about our market and who we're actually speaking to, what we should be posting, plus how we can showcase our ideas creatively, and how we can actually, get the message across in the right tone without causing our brand any damage. I think that's a huge thing to consider when we've gone about posting we'll be going about posting in the next, way forward. Does that hit we're on the same track here? Everyone's happy with that? Thumbs up, give me a thumbs up. We've got thumbs up. Yeah, hands up, thumbs up, love it. So let's tackle the why. Why is it so important to be keeping up our social presence at the moment? So the short answer is that you absolutely should still be marketing your business. And one of the best examples I can give of this is at the time of the GFC, I was working for Hamilton Island, and we we might have trimmed it a little bit, but our marketing budget stayed pretty consistent. That wasn't where they took a lot of the cash away from the business. Now, I realize that we're talking, bigger dollars and a bigger operation, but the point was, the minute that things started to go like this again and people started to have expendable cash, we were already here. We're already in their mind, ready for them to come back to us. The second they're thinking, I need to get somewhere, I need to do something, we're already there. We've been present the whole time. And for me, that's where I see this opportunity that social media presents us as operators in this period. But a little more consideration definitely needs to be given to the strategy. It's super important to keep up the good stuff and ensure that we're top of mind, so that, again, as I just said, the minute people are starting to move around, we are top of mind with the message like, welcome back, come on back. Like, we've been talking, we've been waving at you, telling you how great it is. You have now got the chance to come back with us, and we can't wait to have you. So make sense? Yeah. So why should you bother trying to create great content during this time? This is a really interesting question, and I'd love to take your bids. Now, the person that gets the right answer, I will post a book out. I'll have to get your address, but I'd love to take your bids. If you've been to a previous workshop of mine and you know what the answer is, please just, keep quiet. How much scrolling do you think you do every day like this? Pop them in the chat box. If you don't want to say it, that's okay. You just pop it in the chat box. So go with meters. How much scrolling do you think you do every day? Oh, I can hear a giggle. 1 kilometre, keep going. 5 kilometres, Amy's an overachiever. It's 2. We do 2 kilometres a day. Can you believe that? Like our thumb, 2 kilometres a day. No wonder we've all got RSI. Like, and this is a stat from before. I would do more. Yeah, me too, Melissa. I'm definitely a guts. So yeah, I mean, I think I would probably do more, but this is before COVID, right? So since COVID, we've had, the stats have gone like this, and I'll show you those in a minute. Before COVID, again, there's 15 million Facebook users in Australia. So that in itself to me is like a huge opportunity, and purely because we are going to have to market to this market because it is our market. We're not going to have this international, ability for a little while. So we really do need to start considering what's available to us. Did you know that 89% of Australians have smartphones? Who here doesn't have a smartphone? Yes, as I thought. Yeah. My dog has a smartphone. So, I think everybody's got smartphones. I think it's so easy. It's so easy. We take it for granted, but it is what it is. If we want to know an answer to something, we literally pop our encyclopedia out of our pocket and we put it on. It's easy. So why is it so important to be keeping up your social presence right now? Here's the stats post-COVID, right? So we've got, according to eMarketer, Facebook saw a 70% increase in usage of all of its apps. So when I say all of its apps, I mean Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, and Facebook. That is nuts, 70%. Crazy. Why wouldn't you want to be on there right now? Facebook and Instagram have seen a 40% increase usage due to COVID-19, with views of Instagram Live and Facebook Live doubling. So the other two that have hit the bigger hit is Messenger and WhatsApp, because people are connecting because they can't see people face to face. So they're huge stats to think about. This is massive opportunities for us as marketers to get our brand out there. People are online more because they have the time, no surprises there, and they're striving to remain more connected, informed, and entertained during these times. So in my language, what does it mean? I think it means an opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity for us to kind of slip into this slipstream and start talking about how great we are. So again, the second we can have them back, we will. Oh, Cass disappeared. She's put a blanket up over her screen. She's back. Okay. So people are spending more time online. Your followers are spending more time online than they ever have before. And so do people that are potentially your followers, potentially your target market that you may not have got in front of yet. So, there's definitely opportunities there to reach out to those as well. It gives you a unique opportunity to deepen your relationship with your audience and increase brand awareness. But one thing I would say is that, be clear about this, I'm not saying just get on there and smash out content. We still need a goal. As a marketer, I think there's a great quote, and it says, I know 50% of my marketing budget works. I just don't know which 50%. It's like, right, well, did you have a goal to begin with? We need to have a bit of clarity around why we are going to invest our time, because while social media is free, our time is not free. I'm sure you're all very aware of that as business owners. It's very critical. So we need to make sure that we've got a goal, we've got a purpose, yeah? So I thought I'd give you guys a few different ideas as to what might work for you in your business in terms of goals for marketing during COVID-19. Supporting and helping your customers through these testing times. Building long-term trust, which, as I mentioned, we have this time now to start this know, like, and trust relationship with these people via social media that before might have been, for them, probably a little bit more rushed. Like now they have the time to sort of digest what we're offering them because they have the time literally to sit there and take it in. Educating the customer on your industry. Tick for us. Educating customers in creative ways. Now that's exciting, and I know Mark's going to throw a whole bunch of creative stuff at you tomorrow, which will be awesome. And entertaining customers so they can have a good time. I'm sure you've all had those moments at home in the last few months. Well, some of you perhaps, where you're like, not necessarily bored, but you're seeking entertainment. And realistically, that's what most people do when they're going on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it may be. They're looking to be entertained. Would you agree with that? Hands up if you would. Yeah, I got a big wave and a nod. Good, I like that. So I would definitely suggest that they have the time now to really sort of digest and suck it up. Oh, Mark is next Thursday, right? Make sure you tune into that one. So yeah, absolutely. I think they've got time to digest, which is awesome. So I would suggest you try to pick at least one of those and use them as a bit of a guide in terms of the way forward for you guys when it comes to your content that we're going to create today. Ultimately, though, whilst nothing can replace human connection, and I think we all know that, I think it's really important at these times to obviously be even more authentic than we've been before. And authentic is a word that gets bandied around, blah, blah, blah. But I think that the beauty of this period is that people are really seeking to have that deeper connection, and even if it is digital. And I think that if we put the customer at the center of everything we do on our socials, the way we would do if they were customer service right in front of our face, I think that we will start this know, like, trust process and really lock it in their minds a little bit more firmly, so that again, when the restrictions are relaxed, they will come to us and they will hopefully sit, enjoy, and just really take in, but they'll already be very familiar with our brand and what we're offering before they've even picked up the phone or walked in the door, which is the power of social media, really. Yeah. We've still got everybody in the background there. Give me a thumbs up on the little everywhere. If I can see a few of you, I can't see all of you. So if there's anything that I'm saying that doesn't make sense, please tell me. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about content creation. Does it cost money? Well, it can. If I guess if you wanted it to, you can. It doesn't have to. I think that's one of the most important things I would say. And I'm certainly not going to suggest that your time isn't valuable, because it completely is. And I would say that that is a big part of it, is that we need to recognize the value that we're investing from our time into these channels. That it's just as valuable as any other marketing in my world. So I think it's important to recognize that. However, there are some great apps and hacks and tips and tricks, which toward the end, I'll mention a few. And as I said, I'm sure Mark's got a load for you too, which I think will really help you quickly create some cool, slick content that will give you a bit of an edge and get the attention of the customer. And that's really what we're seeking. So, content enables you to, yes, you easily, quickly, professionally, and inexpensively communicate with your audience in an engaging way about your product, service, and brand personality. So to give you an example in my world, when I was recently asked to do a Facebook webinar on behalf of QTech and Mackay Tourism, one of the videos I put together was in my paddock with my horse. I wasn't looking overly glamorous. I had literally just done a dressage lesson or something, so I was a bit sweaty and gross, if I'm honest. But my point was, I was trying to sort of adapt, firstly, keep it interesting for people that are watching. Secondly, I was trying to explain to them that if you're not great at something, don't keep trying to do it endlessly without getting a little bit of guidance. And that was my aim through this webinar, was to try to, as someone more familiar with this, assist. My point was, having the pony there and in that state, was that I'm not going to the Grand Prix as a dressage rider, but I do want to get better. I have a coach. And so that was my sort of transition in terms of trying to recommend people and relating it all back to the post and the content, keeping it interesting and engaging. So think a little bit differently about how things in your life can sometimes represent your business or your experience or what you're offering, and how you can apply that. Sometimes there's little things we can tweak and adapt to present ourselves in a different kind of light as well. So we're on to the who. Who wants to hear from me? This is a question I get all the time. Who is going to want to hear me? What about me? What am I going to say? I always get this. Or what if I get no reaction? This is the other one. Crickets. I put it out there to the universe. I get no answers. It's like, why do I bother? And then, you know what? People really sort of take this to heart. The big thing is, for me, I think you need to thank them for their silence, because in my world, if they're not responding, that's still feedback. And yeah, it's probably not feedback that you necessarily think is awesome, and it probably isn't, but all it does is gives us another chance to sort of tweak things and get things a little bit more, fine-tuned for them. The other thing I'd also say is, depending on your post, you may not get a load of likes, clicks, or general comments or shares, but you may still get engagement and views. So don't forget about those two components of your reactions in terms of people consuming your content. Not a great example, but to give you an example, I was chatting to the ladies from Selectability about their suicide prevention program that they provide, or they offer their connectors. And, a post for those guys, you wouldn't expect people to be tagging people in it. Of course, it would be totally inappropriate. And, somebody might privately share that message, or they might take that on board mentally. They might have clicked it and digested it. So don't feel that just because you've not got the 50 likes you think you should have had, that it's been a complete failure. Really think about those stats and facts around it and take them on board when it comes to reshaping your content moving forward. Yeah. What is engagement if it is not a like or a share? So this is a question from Melissa. Hi, Melissa. She's still listening. You can speak beautiful. I want to hear the voice. I want to hear the voice. So engagement, if it's not a like or a share, is a click. So, you know, quite often if you see a post, you'll click it. If it's a video, it might be turning the sound on. If it's it might be forwarding it like to a friend. Like I said, mentioned before, a sticky post, like that kind of suicide prevention stuff. Again, you wouldn't see people really openly tagging people, but there's chances are if you have two friends and one's possibly not okay, you might forward that to your other friend to assist. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Does that make sense, Melissa? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the difference. It is there, and if you can't see it clearly under your post, go into your insights because there is information in there, and we're going to talk a little bit about insights down the track as well. Yeah? Any other questions about that just yet? Oh, who's that? Is that a dog, Robin? Welcome to the webinar. Pop your little name of the puppy in there so we can say hello to the puppy too. I love it. Oh, it's your cat. Okay. Love it. Well, you know, they just want to learn about content. It's brilliant. I love it. So what about all those people, potential customers who are looking for or dreaming about, because what else are we doing right now, right? We're dreaming about your product or service. My husband and I had a holiday booked toward the end of this year. Of course, we can't go there now, and that's completely fine. But that doesn't mean that we're not already anticipating when we can. So you can imagine that the majority of people who have probably had some little getaway or some holiday booked, you know, they've had that opportunity unfortunately snuffed out for now, but they're looking and thinking and they're in this dreaming phase again already about when they can go and do it all again. So think of it like that. It would make sense to assume that people, once the restrictions are lifted slightly, people will be able to move or travel, but not too far from home. Yeah, is that pretty fair to say? I think we're all in the same boat. Yeah, or be dying to get away from home for a while. So I think that's also another very fair comment to make, particularly in my household. My husband's definitely dying to get away from home. I don't know if it's me. I think it might be other things as well, you know, accompanying facts. But yeah, everyone's ready to just get out of the house for a little while and go away. So luckily for us, as a region, we have got an absolutely stunning backyard with so much diversity, from the beaches to the rainforests to the islands to the reef to blah, 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 blah. You guys know it all. You live here. You know exactly what's here, and it's amazing. We're so lucky. But the brilliant part is, for us as a region, as a tourism region, we are on the brink of a mining industry, which I just see this as a total opportunity. I know that the guys at Mackay Tourism, and I imagine Tourism Whitsundays as well, United, looking at the 4-hour drive market, which is great because these guys have been working through this whole process. They haven't stopped. They've had to continue working as essential services. So there's not a cash issue for them having a holiday, which for us is great. And secondly, they're within a 4-hour drive range, which I think is very feasible to understand or assume that that's probably not going to be too far away for us to have come through. Yeah, so I think we are in a really, really great, solid position as a tourism industry because we do have those guys on our back door, and within our region, we have loads to offer them. So they're not just going to have one weekend away and then that's it for the rest of the year. They can have an experience down the road. For me, I say down the road, I'm in Airlie Beach, down the road in Mackay. They can go up to Bowen. They can come to the Whitsundays. They can literally go and pick and choose and have very different experiences in our backyard, which is their backyard. So easy and so great. It's really exciting. And Chrissy's just confirmed, as you can see there in the chat, that we have the marketing campaign ready to go. As soon as they open those floodgates, we will be welcoming those people back. So yeah, I like that too. Big clap, says Melissa. So I'm super excited about that as an opportunity for our region, because I think, like as Elizabeth said, it might take a bit of reshaping, rethinking about the product that we're providing. But at the end of the day, we are luckier than many because we have these people here that will be seeking an escape, and that is one which we can provide them pretty easily. So this is where and why it is important that we need to remain active and consistently showcase and share our products and services on social media, because people are in the dreaming phase right now. Let's give them something to dream about. We will remain top of mind as a great option, and then we can finally welcome them back as soon as we can. Our immediate audience is literally in our backyard. So let's talk to them. That's my suggestion today. And I think Chrissy and the guys from Mackay Tourism and Tourism with Sunny would also agree. So how are we going with that? Any questions on that section? Type them in the chat if I can't see you. All good for now. Everyone's happy. I'm going to take, oh, here we go. No, all clear. Thank you, Mariella. That's excellent to know. If you have any questions, please pop them in. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for chatting to me. I like to know who's out there. So let's address another question. This is another one I get all the time. What am I going to say? What am I going to post about? It's the constant head scratcher. Like people just go, I don't know what to say. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Who's going to want to hear from me? And what am I going to say? They're the two key burning questions I get all the time when it comes to social media. Do you feel that way? Do you guys feel that way when it comes to posting for your respective businesses? Except for the cat post, you should feature your cat, Robin, I think a little bit more in your business. It would definitely get take up, I think. So I wanted to give you guys today some content ideas, some around wording, some around that I suggest throughout my previous workshops. And I'm going to give you a bit of a take-home suggested list as well, which is very exciting, which I'll explain in a second too. So if I started from scratch and with a client, they said, I don't know what to say, here you are. Oh, sorry, is it over this side? Where am I on your screen? Here you are. Show your skills. So show your skills, show them what you do, show them what you offer. If you've got 5 different room types, show them 5 different room types. Kath, it can be challenging. You're so right, especially when it's knee-jerk, because people are like, it's, you know, I just need to get this done. I'm rushed in my way of thinking. I haven't really got a plan. And therefore, if you have 5 minutes, you've got that 5 minutes to think about what you're going to say. It's a nightmare. But if you've got something like this, exactly. If you've got something like this, it's a great one for you to go through. And if you've got an even more clear schedule, which we'll talk about, it'll help you just come, you know, really nicely. If you've got 5 different room types, showcase your 5 different room types, 1 a week. It gives you a month of content, like 1 post a week for a month. Ask the audience a question. I think this is a super relative one at the moment. You can say, tell us about your last day in Mackay. Tell us about your last day at Comfort Blue. What did you like the most about your recent trip to Yongala? You know, ask these people, get them to engage, because again, whilst they're in the dreaming phase of their planning to go away, they're also in the remembering and sharing phase of the previous stuff, because that's all they can be in right now. They're thinking about what they've done and they're thinking about it fondly so that they can come back. So now I'm just looking, sometimes, as you said, our backyards offer so much that we can use your creativity to showcase. That's right, all the wonders we have to offer. And I think that industry alliance, Mariella, is something we're going to talk a little bit about too today. Personal. This is a bit of a sticky one. I think this really works well if you, for people that don't really know you, and sort of to get to know you as the face of the business, if that's what you would like. Now, the reason I'll give you an example of this. When I was on Hamilton Island, I was at the airport. I was just meeting guests to come in for race week. And this young lady came along and I said, hi, how are you? She's like, oh, really gracious to me. She said, hi, how are you? I'm really good. I said, oh, are you here for race week? She's like, yep. And I'm thinking, I know her. I can't pick up, but I know her. I know who that is. And I couldn't think of her. I was sure I knew her, but it was Jessica Watson. She just sailed around the world. I didn't know her. I didn't know her from a bar of soap, but I knew her because I'd seen her so much on TV. And so I already had this familiarity with her. Thankfully, she was very polite. But this is my point when it comes to the personal stuff. If you're the person that's going to be welcoming them to your resort or your restaurant, it probably wouldn't hurt for you to be welcoming them. Hi, my name's Tolita. Welcome to La Tabella. Today we're going to be having a beautiful homemade pasta, blah, 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 whatever it might be. And telling them a little bit about yourself, what you love about the region, because they like to connect with you as a person as much as they want to experience your product. Yeah? Fluffy. The cat walking past the screen or something else. So anything that you have that you think might just give people a smile. And I would use this as a bit of use yourself as a litmus test here. If you're scrolling through social media and something's got your attention and stopped you and made you giggle, why not? You know, there's no hard and fast rules around social media. It's social. It's a cocktail party online. So feel free to share that kind of stuff and see about the reaction you get. You know, see if the audience empathizes or has a giggle. But that's what you want. Sharing is caring. So as Mariella mentioned before, sharing is caring. If you are a resort and you want to promote, if you're sort of looking for content, and somebody like for us up here, I know the guys from Red Cat and Ocean Rafting have fantastic footage. share their footage. You know, you might share, Kathy, you might share something from up at Youngala where the platypus are or something like that, you know, or the even Old Station Tea House. You might share some of their footage as a day trip option. And that's great stuff that you can do with people while they're in the region, purely because while they're in the region, they're not just going to be sitting in their hotel room. They want to know what's out there, and they really love to know what you think is good because you live here. So you're the magic. It's really important to give them that recommendation. Yeah. Promotion of your place. If you have a special at the moment, a thumbs up from Kath, thank you. If you have a special at the moment or something like that, a photo or a video, that's a bit of a no-brainer. And I know Mark's going to elaborate on that with you guys next week. Business FAQs. This one's a personal favorite of mine because I think that, oh, Melissa, are you okay? I'm giving you a headache. I hope not.
Sorry, I've got really sore eyes.
Oh, bless you. Okay, close them. I won't distract you. So an FAQ list. When you are getting a booking or taking an order or whatever it is that you're doing with your business, usually people will have a series of questions that they will ask you. And most of the time, you'd probably find them quite similar. I know, Robin, in your case, you definitely get a list of questions pretty similar most times before people will book. And I really recommend aiming for 12, and there's a reason I picked that number, and also then fleshing those 12 out as your evergreen FAQs. Now, evergreen being that they're relative today, the same relativity as they will have in 6 months, because you'll probably still be getting asked a similar question. Yeah, you might have to tweak them a little bit, but they're very similar in their request. And then also you've got them for 3 months. So you might use one of those evergreen content posts every week, which will give you 3 months worth of content. In saying that, in 3 months, you know, Kath might have liked my page today, but she may not have seen the 5 before that. She'll see the 7 in front of her, but not the 5 before. So roll them through. They're still relevant. You can still reuse them. The other nice part about it is it gives you 12 months worth of blog topics for your website. It gives you 12 beautiful months worth of blog topics. And all you need to do is write one paragraph and you repurpose that between your social media, your website, and wherever else you want to put it. So I'm a huge fan of the number 12 for the FAQ thing. I think it's a really clever thing. Give us a review. This one can be a bit sticky. I know some business owners get really kind of anxious about asking for reviews. I'm of the opinion that, sometimes if you don't ask, you don't get, but also because I don't think people necessarily have it at the forefront of their mind, especially when they're on social media. However, if you do ask them for a review and they've had a great experience and you put the link right there, it is super simple, then 9 times out of 10, they'll happily give you one. And you know what, if it comes back and it's not necessarily great and it's constructive feedback, well, firstly, that will give us a chance to improve our product. And secondly, it gives you a chance as a business owner to go back to them and ask them and say, oh, look, I'm so sorry, Mariella, that you had that experience. It's the first I have heard of it. Is it possible for me to contact you? Can you message me your details? Try to take it offline. But I can guarantee you from a consumer's perspective, the fact that you are trying to address the ones that aren't great as well as the ones that are will give you a lot more credibility in the mind of the person that's considering your business, because you care beyond them coming and going. Does that make sense to everyone? I think that sort of, I think it sort of gives you a little bit more credibility. It's really important. Lastly, trending topics. COVID-19 is a trending topic, not necessarily one that I'd love to chat about too much in terms of the social media, but you might talk about something a little bit more exciting, like when Migaloo comes through Queensland or something like that, or something relevant to our industry, perhaps if the platypus are having little platypus babies or something like that. Trending topics, sporting topics if you're a sport lover. Again, thinking about what also might resonate with your audience. So to give you an example of finding out what your audience likes, for me, I do the Fat Frog social media, which is a little bit of a little cafe up here, which is awesome. Our target, we do coffee and food. We don't really push the wine part of it. However, clearly a common denominator with our target market is wine, because whenever I put a wine post up, it goes gangbusters. People are tagging each other, they're laughing, they're sharing it. So I know that that's actually a bit of I've had a great strike rate with that. So I intentionally use this topic that's not necessarily, what I would talk about, to get that reaction and interaction with my customers. So if you know that the majority of your guys like rugby league, the second the game starts again, you might put up a little bit of like, yay, so happy to have the ball game back. And I saw a really interesting stat last night that I think we will be the only country in the world that has a ball game playing, like an active ball game series. It's nuts. So for people to watch, what a great opportunity for us sports nuts to get our brands out there. So yeah, there are some opportunities in this crazy time. If you're starting from scratch, and I can't imagine many of you are, but sometimes this is another question I get, how many times should I post or what should I post? So I do find this is a good starting point for people. So 30% your content, so business specific, so your room types, your specials, whatever it might be. 30% helpful, useful content, like the airport is this far away from your hotel, where we are, you know, there's a 5-minute walk, whatever it might be. 30% sharing other people's content. So if you've got, you know, as we mentioned before, Kathy, you might share the Old Station Tea House's post from Michelle, you might do something like that. And then 10% fluff, Robin's cat walking past the camera. So I think, you know, just those kind of things, that's a good mix to start with. And I think that by doing that, I think you sort of, it just, you know, this is the course of the month too, by the way. So I think it's a really great benchmark. Then from there, once you see what your audience starts to react to, you can continue to do more of what's working for you or tweak what isn't. That's the whole great thing about social media, is we have this feedback. It's all the time. Thumbs up from Melissa. We have this brilliant feedback, which is great. So we can tweak our delivery and make sure that we are getting, you know, giving the people what they want. As I said, silence is another form of feedback. So just take that on board. Don't get offended by it. Just take it on board, tweak, and try to move forward with it too. As I said before, and I think, was it you, Kath, I think mentioned, now's the perfect time to pair up and showcase your industry alliances. And you know what? At the moment, you could reach a bit further afield, like Tourism Mackay, Tourism Bowen, Tourism Mackay, Tourism with Sundays, working super closely. So, you know, have a look around what's there. Maybe suggest the 5-day drive itinerary. They come to you, they go to Youngley, they come to us. You know, put some ideas in their mind so that you can make suggestions about what they can do when they're in the region. People really want to know what to do here. They really want to know from you, the locals' perspective. They want to know about the gritty cafe around the corner versus the one that's on the main street, perhaps, that may not necessarily, you know, they might be a bit unsure where to go. They might be coffee lovers, or they might want to go and have a quirky little bar experience that won't be obvious to them. These experiences that we have as locals and we hold true to our heart as locals, quite often it is what the customer does want. And I think you'll agree that when people come to, well, for me, whenever I was on Hamilton Island, they want to know what the staff do because we're there. They want to know what we do. They're curious. So help these people by sharing and showcasing what you would do if you were to come to the region and, you know, what's on offer for them. There's so much that we can show them. So this is how, at this stage, we're just looking at where they're at in their buying journey. As I mentioned to you before, there's the 5 stages, and it is dreaming, planning, booking, experiencing, and sharing. And I've just seen a note pop up from Chrissy. We'll be organising a small group business recovery series in June for the Mackay and Isaac operators for just this. Awesome. There you go. So already we're ahead of the game there because we're looking to unite and do, like, showcase ourselves in a united front. I think that will make a massive, massive impact. It'll be awesome. So great content has the ability to influence through all stages of the purchase cycle for the traveller or for the person coming on a holiday. Consider at what time of the year they may be at, let me start again, rewind. So consider what time of the year it is and where they are at in their journey in terms of when you're creating your content. So are they dreaming it? Are they booking it? Are they planning it? Are they actually in it, experiencing it? Or are they sharing it? And then that's going to dictate how you post your content to follow. At the moment, I think it's fair to say that they're in the dreaming and planning stage. So what do we want to do? We want to post stuff that's going to create an emotive reaction in them so that they can come, like they really resonate with our posts. I've added this template here.
Tolita?
Oh, yes, hello.
Just 1 minute. Just what you were talking about before, Kath wanted to know, how do you get that content that is unknown to you?
Kath, can I, oh, she's gone missing. When she comes back, I'm going to unmute her and just ask her to explain that question to me a little bit more.
Okay, no worries.
So I'm not 100% what she means. So bear with. This is the 5 stages of travel according to QTIC, or Tourism Queensland, and I think it helps you really sort of connect and understand with a little bit more sort of surety how people are using their mobiles and researching through social platforms and websites at each stage, and therefore we can tailor our content accordingly. Here she is. Let me just unmute her. Kath?
Yes.
Tell me, you've just mentioned there, so how do you get that content that is unknown to you? Was that your question?
Yeah, what I was meaning by that, and I know that can be quite an out there question, is like, if you're able to grab, if you've done a normal post and people have come back to you about the ideas of loving puppy dogs, that you might want to go to a puppy cafe. Yep. You don't know that there's a puppy cafe that exists. So how do you find out?
So I would then probably use the other side of Facebook, and I'm sure you've all experienced this to a degree. Firstly is your network you have of Mackay members, like the Mackay Tourism Group. Number one, I would ask the question to that group. Yep. Number two, I would also possibly even just put a notice up on the Mackay notice board or something like that, because people that are passionate about that sort of stuff are quick to reply.
We do have a unique little business, and I think they might still be a Mackay Tourism member. Is the Kitty, not Kitty Cafe, the lady that's at Recycle Centre. She has beautiful old and new, and she serves cups of teas, and she's got beautiful cats walking around everywhere.
Nice.
So
and what a great unique Mackay experience, that's really brilliant. I think too, that thinking sort of a little bit sideways with what people might want. Some people do, I know I'm speaking to Elizabeth here as well about our little dogs. We're very little dog savvy. We love them and we'd love to take them everywhere, but we can't always do that. But in Airlie Beach, I know that I could probably name 6 places I can take my dog with me when I go to lunch or dinner or breakfast. So knowing that kind of stuff is really valuable. And I mean, I'm not saying, Kath, that you can have people with little dogs coming to you.
No, but unfortunately, can't.
But if you see a question there that someone's asking, it's nothing to say that you as Comfort Pacific can't help them by answering the question. And then sort of giving that helpful, useful information for nothing, So I think that's also a really important thing. There you go. Michelle's just said kitten vintage on Harbour Road.
Yep, thank you.
I'm going to check that one out too, I think. I'm just going to pop you back on mute, Kath. Does that help? Yeah?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. So you've got this here to have a little look at this template, which is, I think, very good at sort of helping us flesh out what part of they're at. One of my favourite hideouts. We'll know where to find you. Now, let me go back. Now, there we go. Okay, I'm back on. I'm using my fingers too much. Okay, so great content, as I mentioned before, it should create an emotive reaction in the person viewing it. So I've got a bit of a thinking exercise for you. If you think about when you've previously used social media, what stuff has really triggered for you? Like, what have you gone, yes, that's me, or like, or whatever, or you may not have even liked it, because I think a lot of the time we kind of mindlessly scroll. But if you ask people to like if this is you, tag someone quite often that's enough to get them to actually do that, which is great. But next time you're perusing through social media, I would definitely recommend sort of taking a bit of a mental note and seeing what once you do it, once you realize what you're laughing at, okay, so that has triggered an emotive reaction in me. I saw a post my mum put up this morning, which was something about, women in general, or rather, but yeah, it triggered with me. I was like, yep, I love that. That's perfect. So it can be very vast in terms of the type of emotion that you respond with, but it's emotive. And that's when it sort of locks in your system a little bit more in terms of great content. So next exercise, and I think you've already got a little bit of a preview because I had quick fingers before, but I'd love you to think about for a second. Imagine if you were in Melbourne and you were waiting at a train station. This is a bit harder for us because we live in the beautiful tropics. You're soaked, because that's not hard for us to be. We're wet all the time up here. It's raining a lot because you've had to walk through the rain to get there, and it's freezing. It's like 11 degrees. And then you get into the train station and you're waiting and you see that. Like, how does that make you feel? Put it in the chat box. Does it make you, for me, I'm like, I want to be in that photo. And that to me is a mode of reaction. I think that is exactly take me there. Exactly. It's that I want to be in that picture. I want to put myself in that picture. And that's really where I think we have this power or a great opportunity. Get me out of here. Geez, Gillian, is that a good or a bad thing? Get me out of where you are. Can we move there? Yeah, love the beach. Take me there too. All these emotive things that come up, they swell up, without even intending to, which is exactly why I want to go to the island too and drink cocktails. That's right. So I think you can see why this has a great reaction. Now, not every photo can be this way. It might be different, but as I mentioned to you before, it may be, a quote about going back on vacation with people that you love. It might be, a unique and quirky experience that you want to share, like the Kitten Cafe. So it just has to be something emotive that driving that emotive reaction in people. Chrissy and I had a bit of a chat before today about what language we would sort of love to see you guys embrace and use, thinking about that 4-hour drive market and that mining sort of region, and how we can sort of use language that's good speak about inviting people back and making it a little bit more wordy, I suppose, but sort of relevant, but quirky relevant. So I've come up with a few things here for you to use, and feel free to take these away and flog them to death. There's a couple of pages here for you, but we want to show strength and unity across the region by choosing and using similar language, including things like the below. So stay away, but not forever. You're invited to our backyard. I think that's a huge one for me because it literally is these people's backyard. And there's so much that we have to offer in our backyard. And now their backyard, consider it as a bit extended, from the Whitsundays down to Mackay, down to Serena. It's all this one big backyard out to Isaac. Did you know that we're neighbours? If you're talking to someone that's from here, as in Ellie Beach to Mackay, Mackay to Ellie Beach, we're neighbours. Come down here, go up there, make it that kind of language, that kind of speak. Take a break, obviously, a short drive, but a world away. And I think that would really work well now in terms of people trying to escape their house. I think they could drive 10 minutes down the road and they'd probably feel grateful for that. So I think that a short drive takes you a world away is quite a clever play on words as well. Escape to your backyard today. Like, they probably haven't really considered the backyard as somewhere they can escape to, not in the true sense of the word. Before today, they've probably thought Bali is somewhere you can escape to, or Brisbane might be somewhere you can escape to. But now that we've had to sort of change the way we operate and think as a community in a region, I think that's really clever wording. Come to your own backyard and escape and enjoy it. Imagine, that's a really good one. That's a really powerful one, because imagine yourself in this picture. Put yourself in this picture is the one we just saw. As soon as you see that, you start imagining yourself lying in those waters with a cocktail. Who was the one that wanted the cocktails? Michelle. So you start to put yourself in that picture, whether you even want to or not. It just starts to happen. Something triggers within you, an emotive response. When was the last time you visited? Another great question. Like, they can't come now, but if they've had a great experience, you can bet your bottom dollar it's pretty cemented in their brain. Get them talking about it. And then what you're doing by doing that is you're actually getting them to further engage and further showcase their experience with your product to more people that are watching. Remember, it's like a tennis match. There's people talking, but there's plenty of people on the sidelines watching. So get them talking about it. Tag a friend that you want to have an escape with or a visit with. That's a really good one, I think, because that gets that organic reach, oh my God, I haven't, Courtney and I want to go on a pony adventure, whatever. So you're encouraging them to tag that person, which gets your post further reach, getting you more known, which is what we're all aiming for. Have you been here before? Again, ask them a question. And if they say yes, tell me about your experience. What was your favorite part? What did you like the most? If you've been here before. As I mentioned before, when I do social media posts, I find that for a lot of people, just asking for a like. I know that Facebook doesn't really love that, but if you kind of say, if this is you, thumbs up, 9 times out of 10, you will get you'll get the like, because people will go, oh my God, that's so me. I like that. Or I'm going to share that. I'm going to comment on that. So encourage people to react or respond. Share your pictures. So if you've been here before, share your picture. Tell us, send something through the last time you were here. Here's a recent one from us. If you've got a particular position or location at your resort that everybody takes a photo of because it's amazing, well, ask them to put theirs up, because you can bet your bottom dollar that they've probably done the same thing. So get a few people sharing their photos. Tell us about your last visit. What is your favorite part of? Take a short break. We've just talked about that one. It's so good. I've put it in there twice. Where will you go first? When you can finally go, where will you go first? Where do you long to go? Like, where are you dreaming about right now? And if you've got 2 days, here's a plan for you. You know, so again, making those suggestions in terms of what people can do in their days that they're coming to you. I mean, it's probably, I think that depending on the mine site, some of them have 2 days off, some of them have 7 days off. So, you know, you could probably come up with a couple of different itineraries, even loose itineraries as recommendations that you could share with people. Does that make sense, guys? Does that sound, yeah? Any questions? I'm looking at my panelists here, and they're all nodding, so that's good. So if anyone's got any other questions, please pop them in the chat for me. That'd be great.
If you're asking a question from your customers where you are asking for a response, make sure you also answer them back too. So
100%.
Yep.
Yes. You're spot on, Michelle, and I've actually popped that down the end. I think if you're exactly right, if someone's taken the time to engage with your post, thank them. Even if it's a like of their comment, something, you know, make sure that they know that you've seen it, because we want to keep that post alive. And I think it's really valuable. And as Michelle just said, if you respond quite often, you'll actually open up a conversation and you'll end up with this dialogue, which is great. Yeah. Is that your experience, Michelle, for the tea house?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So give people something to daydream about. They're in the daydream phase of the dreaming phase of their planning their holidays or their potential getaways. Put yourself in this picture, share images of the region and articulate how they can relate to you. So, for example, how far Youngler is from your business, your resort, your hotel, your restaurant, whether they can be picked up from there or not, to make it super simple. Perhaps if there's any specials currently you could share across mediums, or that they can even just book with you. You know, there's so many different angles and reasons you can feature other people's businesses. So I'm loving your avatars. Yeah, absolutely, because you don't have to do your hair. That's exactly why I use the avatar. It's way easier. So for all of you people that want to get an avatar, it's Bitmoji. I'll just type it in here and you can, has everybody got one? You can literally just like make it up as you like. There you go. Get your avatars going. I welcome any avatars coming my way. Elizabeth, I know you've got one. So be aware. It is super important to be aware of customers' thoughts and feelings at this time, particularly because it is new territory for everybody, for them, for us, for everybody. So our communities really do need us more than ever now, though. And all eyes are really, like, physically, literally on social media. So it's a great opportunity to start these communications with them. It's critical to ensure our content is coming from an authentic place. And like I said before, I'm not suggesting for a minute that it wouldn't have been beforehand, but I think it's super, super critical that we do it even more so it doesn't appear that we're sort of making the most out of a bad situation for the world. And I know that none of you would, but I think we need to keep that in our minds so that when we are posting, we're not tone deaf to the situation. You know, there's no point ignoring the big fat white COVID elephant in the room, but it's just how we approach that within our social media. Chrissy's just mentioned that Mackay and TW have a buy one, get one free campaign coming up when the time is ready. And it's a great way to promote each other. It really is, absolutely. And it's that sort of initiatives that we need to really sort of start to drive traffic back through our industries as well. And it's free, Chrissy. Actually, yes, we need to talk about your memberships, Chrissy, toward the end. You can throw that out there too. Any questions so far? How are we all going? Everyone's cool? No one wants to have a break and go and escape and get a coffee or anything? You're okay? Everyone's nodding. Cass nodding vehemently. Oh, she's... You get your coffee. I'll keep it light. Don't worry, it's being recorded. So put the customer at the center of everything you do. And again, I'm not for a moment suggesting that that wasn't what you had done, like you were doing previously. I know that is what you were doing. But I think it's fair to say that now, even more so, that little bit of extra give that we have to give, that little 1% extra, will resonate so much more greatly with them, because it's a time where they firstly have the time to, interpret what and digest what we're saying and emotively react in a bigger way with what we're saying. When you're planning your content, consider the customer's experience with regard to your social media posts. And I guess this is one that's kind of like for me, and I put this down the track a little bit, whenever I'm posting for anyone, clients or myself, I have a rule: head, heart, gut. If something's not right when I'm posting it, if it's something relative with, say, COVID-19 or something that someone's done or whatever it is, head, heart, gut, if any of those things don't line up for me, I'm like, nah, not doing it. Something is not right. So, be aware about how things, whilst you understand it, you perceive it a certain way, you can half the time imagine that some people won't, or they'll see it differently. And I think that's really important to be aware of. It's vital to review all your creative for appropriateness in light of the current situation. And sometimes I think it's a really, Gillian, the three brains must work together. They must work together, because otherwise I think that's where we can fall off a little bit, fall off the cause. I think it's really, if you've got one of those kind of sticky posts, it doesn't hurt to just throw it past someone else, to ask somebody that people interpret things differently. Everything's subjective. So it doesn't hurt to run it past other people, especially in these times where you might be doing something you think could be helpful, and it probably is, but potentially could be misinterpreted. So I think it's good to do a couple of little litmus tests before we do go ahead and go live with it. Right, on to the how. So, how do we still post while keeping our brand socially safe? Oh, she's back. You're back. She's right. How do we still post while keeping our brand socially safe? Do we talk about it? It's a really good question, because what is positive about COVID-19? Like, really, at a glance, not much. I mean, we are lucky in Australia for our position, and I think envied by largely the rest of the world. I mean, we've got friends and family in the UK, and they don't think they're going to be able to go anywhere until August, September, away from their homes. And I would love to think that by that time, we've got people moving around our region the way that we have had previously. So we're super lucky with where we are, but it's really hard to we don't want to go out there spruiking about how lucky we are either, because that's totally tone deaf to what the situation is as well, yeah? So it's a real balance as to how we talk about this and address it without either being too buoyant or too demure. So how should we talk about COVID-19, or should we even be sharing any content related to this in the first place? How will we look to our customers? It's a really good question. How will we look to our customers? Keeping your brand socially safe. So in some ways you may have to, it's great because it allows us to quickly advise people with changes on our business. Websites are great, but people don't always go to your website, but they would probably see something on Facebook possibly, especially if you share it to a local group. And that's worked really well, and I'm sure you'll agree, with the local restaurants that have sort of come takeaways, come home deliveries. It's been a great medium to get those things out there. I know in the Whitsundays we have a Whitsunday takeaway group, which we never had before this. And so now, instead of probably even trying to browse Google, you'd go there, because anything that's happening on that day will be in that group. It's way easier. So, but if you wanted to just update people to changing your hours, announcements about general effects and the way you do business, to give them that kind of confidence in you that you are actually adhering to the requirements or suggested recommendations around COVID-19, cool, do that. That's really, really clever. I mean, the other day I went to a store up here, no names, but they had a big sign which was not near the door. And I just waltzed in because I didn't realize that I shouldn't have done that. And then they came out, they're like, no, you need to come back, you need to come back. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't realize. So, be strategic about when you're trying to communicate with your customers, how you want them to behave, so that they can also protect your staff as well as themselves in their behaviors as well. One in Mackay, we pledge local one-stop shop. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So they're obviously different pages and groups on Facebook, I imagine. So yeah, it's a great sort of ability for us to get our new changes out there. Important not to be tone deaf. Put the customer at the center of your strategy, head, heart, and gut. In terms of sharing stuff about COVID, what you might do is find a positive story. Like, I know there's been a lot of people that have been able to go around and assist other people with, the elderly that perhaps haven't had a chance to go shopping or are fearful of, they're in that sort of more considered bracket of potential infection. So there's those kind of stories. There's been loads of great stuff that's come out of it as well, and they're the ones we should share, especially if you see an idea potentially down the track or somewhere else that could work for Mackay. Why wouldn't you share something like that and start that side of things? I know I saw this morning there's been a few challenges for, I think it's at Beyond Blue, where the blokes are, it's awful, like raw egg, sugar, beer, shot. One of my horse dentists went juice, milk, egg. I'm like, oh, that looks awful. But so that they can make the brand aware. So it's getting the message out there. It's working. So that kind of stuff I think is super exciting to share. And it's all as a result of COVID-19 because we're actually spending more time on our screens and devices. So there are some positives. And I think head, heart, gut again with whatever you choose to think about using, and just being a bit sort of, careful, strategic about what you decide to go with. This is another question I get all the time, and this is more for people that aren't really doing a lot of posting perhaps at the moment, particularly if you haven't had sort of a structured plan. My suggestion is go 3 to 5 times a week at least, or even 2. If you want to do 2, totally cool. 1, do 1, I don't mind. Just be consistent. The reason I'd suggest this is if you go to a Facebook page, my bad, and you see that they have not posted since, say, 2017, what is your immediate impression of that business? Put it in the chat box for me, or girls are shaking your head. I see Michelle shaking her head.
Close there.
Closed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. You think that they've gone, they're closed, 100%. But let me reframe it for you. If you go to the business, Melissa, don't care. Exactly, they don't care. They can't be bothered to communicate. So the other side of the coin is if you go back to their page and they've posted in, what's this month, May. So they've posted in April. And then you scroll down and you see the next post is in March and the one before that is in February. Then what do you assume? They're there once a month. Yeah, exactly, Gillian. They're there. They're consistently posting at least once a month. At least they're breathing some life into their post. They're being consistent. So my suggestion to you is whatever you choose to do, stick to it. So if you want to do 3 posts a week, do 3 posts a week. Don't try not to do 2 posts a week and then 20 posts a week. That's kind of a little bit of a big gap. Just be a little bit consistent. Throw extra ones on there if you want to, but at a minimum, try to keep sort of a bit of a regular breath of life into your social media pages because people do tend to notice. Don't forget to engage with your customers. And we mentioned this one before. This is I think it's really important that if someone likes a post, that they have one of your posts, that you invite them to come back and actually like your page. Well, here we go. Gillian, what about using stories to keep the chaff out of the main Facebook page? Yeah, love stories. So if you actually add to your story, you will be up the top. It's so fantastic. Gillian does too. It's awesome because you're literally there, like you're up the top. You're leagues ahead. You're skipping above the fray because you're already, you're not just in the general feed, you're like in someone's face when they're on Facebook. And that's really, really important. So on your, the little plus sign on the side of your profile photo will allow you to add to the story. And then that will take you up to the story section of your page. And I might just jump in and see if I can show you that. So everyone can still see me, still see my screen. So I'll go to Latabella. I'll find lovely Lenny's just got a new menu. So I can gonna copy this. So one little hack for you guys, if you ever want to share a post and schedule it as opposed to just share it straight away, you can literally click the time on the post, so 2 hours, and you will get the actual URL for that post up the top. Yeah, so that's the exact web address for that particular post, and you can use that to share in your publishing tools in Facebook. So now if I go back to me and I go back to my page, sorry, bear with, I've got the new Facebook. I'm still, finding my way through it. And now I've got to find out how I'm going to add to my stories, because now that I've said that, I'm like, it's changed on me again. Gillian, open up your thing and tell me. Oh, you know what? I don't know. It's changed. I don't know. Maybe it's this one. Let me see. Yes, right. Found it. Got it. So add a text story. So you can see this is the whole new layout. I only do stories from my phone. See, and this is it, isn't it? It like just throws us off a curveball. So if I just put this post here, I'm not exactly sure what this will give me because it's a link. My point is you will end up being up here. I'm going to show you where you'll end up. Discard. Up here. And who was it that said out of the chaff? Was it Gillian? It keeps you out of the chaff. You're up here. Ash Lade, she's always doing stories. Green Energy Technologies, Seven Oaks Farms. Look what a great location in terms of getting your business the top of people's pages that follow you. Does everyone use stories at the moment or not so much? No, a little bit. And as Jillian mentioned, some people do it from their phone, and I don't tend to use my phone too much. I use them for my personal business. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the thing. It's not something we as businesses tend to think about, but you can see the screen real estate that you get from this, yeah? So definitely have a look into it. For those of you who haven't seen this is the new Facebook, and you can default back. Just a bit of feedback. In the last few days, I have had issues with certain facets of the old Facebook, like it's not giving me full screens to do things with and things like that. So if you're hitting brick walls or you think there's a few little gremlins in your Facebook profile, it's probably because it's trying to push you toward the new Facebook. So bear with, the benchmarks change all the time, but if you get stuck and there's something that you'd like me to find, I can try to help you find it. As you saw then, I wasn't familiar with where stories were, so we will find it though. It's all good. Any other questions? Any questions for now? All good? No? Good. Everyone's happy, just checking. Rightio, on to the good stuff. The hacks. Who's ready for a few hacks? So these are my favorite apps for content creation. And as I said, I think Mark's probably got a whole bunch up his sleeve as well that he's going to share with you next week. And I'll quickly explain each of you. These are all free. So that's another little favorite word of mine when it comes to creating content. Canva and Hyperlapse. So the first one here is Canva, as you can see. The circle is Hyperlapse. The third one's Story Swag, and as you can see in the typed text underneath, I put Story Swag or Adobe Spark Post if you're an Android user, because Story Swag's not on Android. And thirdly, fourthly, Quick, and InShot. InShot's not on there, but InShot is another movie creator, which I find super good. That's great English. Great to use to when it comes to creating content. Does anyone use any of those apps now? Everyone, a few people would be familiar with Canva, I'd imagine. Robin's, yep. Love Canva. And Canva has got a Canva sometimes. With the paid feature of Canva, there's a great ability for you to create MP4 and videos in Canva now. So they're starting to kind of move into that space. Canva and Photo, Photo is another good one too for editing. So it's starting to move into that space. And I think the reason is there seems to be, particularly with PCs, there's a big gap between the sort of higher end, difficult to navigate through video editing like software versus the very basic stuff you get on the computer. In the Mac world, there's iMovie, and it's sort of middle of the road. So Canvas, I think, trying to go that way. Rachel says she uses all of these. Good girl. I feel like you might have been to one of my workshops, and I love that. Love a little groupie. So Hyperlapse is one that gives you an ability to jam in heaps of information in a short time. So it's time lapse. And what I'd recommend you use this one for is things like if you wanted to showcase how far it was from the airport to your venue, you might stick the camera in there, not driving, of course, but have someone hold the camera for you and literally hyperlapse that from when you leave the airport to when you arrive at your venue. You can speed it right up, so it's really, really fast, but people will get an understanding of the distance, and they're able to consume so much information in a really short time. Another great one for you to use that one for hospitality food venues is, and one for you, Michelle, possibly when you guys are putting food together, like hold the camera above the plate while they're plating things up. It's really interesting to see how things are put together in that format. And I think with the hyperlapse, it kind of grabs you. I think it's interesting, and because of the quicker movements, you tend to be more engaged. I use Canva for our function packages and proposals, absolutely. And that's what it's great for, because you can literally put all of your colors and templates and logos and things in there and continue to use it. It's a brilliant, brilliant online tool, which is awesome. Story Swag is another one that you can use, and I'll just show you quickly an example of how you would use Story Swag. So sometimes when you have a tech, like you want to ask a question, you could just ask a question, but I would highly encourage you to think about how you can make that question a video. And that's where the likes of Story Swag or Adobe Spark Post comes in. Because in terms of content, video is the most, will get you the best organic reach on Facebook. So wherever you can do anything on Facebook, think, how can I make this a video? And these apps will give you that ability to do that. So this one here is one I did today for the Fat Frog. You can see it does have its little logo in the bottom, but I think it's here nor there. You can pay $8 a month to get rid of it if you want, but I don't think it's going to sort of stop the sun coming up tomorrow, so I'm going to leave it there. But if I hit play, that's a really short video. Does the trick. It's pretty basic. It has other different sort of formats. That's one from Canva. I'm just trying to find one that had a pink overlay. This is one that I've done in InShot. So with InShot, you have more control. So you can literally put a whole bunch of different, is it InShot? I'm playing fibbies. No, this one was with Quick. So with Quick, was the next movie one, Kath's nodding, it's super easy because it does all the grunt work for you. So basically you just throw the photos in, throw the videos in, pick the template, pick the format, change the words, and it does everything else for you. It's got music in the background as well, so you can choose music appropriate to what you're saying. And the beautiful part about it is that music's already commercially accredited, so you don't have to worry about Facebook taking it down because it's not allowed. So within Quick and InShot, they both have a music library that goes with, which makes life a lot easier as well. Here's another story swag example as well. So it's got different fonts, different bits and pieces. So fantastic for trying to do something quickly. It's not difficult to use. Once you get your head around it, you'll find it really easy to use. And I think it just gives you an ability to make really cool content quickly. And as I said, thinking about how you can make this a video. So for Facebook reasons, fantastic, so that you can literally get as much reach as possible. Hack number 2, when should I post for the best engagement? So this is another question I get along with those other two before. I don't know how familiar you guys are with your insights, but in insights, in the back end of your Facebook page, there's one tab called posts. And every week, Facebook updates this information and sort of gives you an idea as to when your fans are online. Now, I would also preface this with saying at the moment, something weird is going on where it's telling me that there's a lot of people online at 2 or 3 a.m. I don't know what's going on there. I don't necessarily believe it, but if you want to put a post up then and see if you get a good response, be my guest. I don't really understand it. In saying that, maybe people are insomniacs. I don't know. You get that as well. It's so weird, isn't it? I don't know if it's just our region or maybe it's got something to do with time zones. In saying that, depends on the market that you're advertising to as well. I'm one of those up, right? So Melissa, it is actually true. Okay, half the nation's up. I must just accept that. I have one client here who did a lot of selling to the States and they were not getting a lot of traction for their posts. And so when I said to them, because they're in Australian time zone, they couldn't work out why it wasn't working. And I said, well, where are your customers? They're in the States, other end of the day. So we need to start scheduling stuff at their time so they can engage with it. And as soon as we did that, we got a good response. Now, I would suggest, as a rule of thumb, my practice, I literally write down, I go in here once a month, I write down the best times of the day to post, one to two times, according to this graph. Again, I take it with a grain of salt. And then I think about my target market and when they would be inclined to be online. So, for example, if they're minors, for want of a better term, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to have lunch or dinner, you know, most days. And even if the shifts are crossing over and changing, they're probably going to have lunch or dinner, those, you know, that time of the day as well. So maybe though around those times isn't a bad time. In terms of the week, you think about just generally, most people go into the week thinking, oh, you know, I'm going to go in and I'm going to be sort of very diligent, or they go in diligently. Monday, Tuesday, they kind of work focused. Wednesday, they're like, oh, we're nearly at the weekend. So they're starting to think about their next holiday. And then Thursday, Friday, they're sort of a bit more casual and they're happy to kind of engage with a little bit more social media. So that's in this industry, that's when I find it's a really good time to start putting things out there so people can really start to emotively respond and engage with your content as well. If you have a target market, which is mums, for example, you would assume in normal times that a lot of mums are waiting at schools at 10 to 3, waiting for their kids on Monday to Friday. So you would put a post up then. Do you see what I mean? So think about the behavior of your target markets and when they might most likely be online, and then start scheduling posts either a couple of minutes before, dead on, or just a couple of minutes after. Because again, while we do scroll 2 kilometers, we don't do it all in one go. You don't keep going, you will stop. So I think it's really important to try to increase your odds by getting to the top of that list. Make sense? Yeah? So hack number 3, how do I get better organic reach? And again, I touched on this before. Facebook's algorithm is videos, stories live, photos, and text and shared links. So if you can do anything, if you're going to ask a question, please, please, please consider how you can make it a video. And those apps will help you do that. anything at all, you know, if it's a bit of an update, even like new hours or new changes due to COVID or whatever it might be, think about how you can initially put it up as a video to get that video sort of telling Facebook with this post, it's not just a basic post, it's not just text, it's video. Does Facebook still have issues with YouTube videos? Look, it doesn't, Kath. So Facebook and YouTube are like this. So my suggestion would be, if you're going to take the time to make a video, I would upload it natively to Facebook and natively to YouTube. If you put it on Facebook, you will get a far better response than you will if you share a link, because as you can see there, the links are sort of the lower end of the scale in terms of getting good reach. Yeah. So, and if you need a bit of help with that, let me know. But with whatever you're doing, even I would say on Instagram, if you can upload it organically to Instagram, and I know now with Facebook there's Creator Studio, which is really exciting, which is sort of connecting everything even more. But I would still say you will be rewarded for uploading things natively to each platform if you have the time to do that. Just remember though, something is better than nothing. Just start somewhere. You're not going to break it, yeah? So you're going to make some stuff look super cool, and you're going to get your word out there, get the message out there for content. As I touched on before, in these slides, if you would like a copy of these slides, if you want to jump on my 8 seconds page and just message me your email address, I will send you a copy of them. And also you'll get the link to the recording anyway through Mackay Tourism. But within them, you can click on this page here and you'll get a link to my 365 days worth of content document. So again, it's based on a couple of different things. It's the list I initially showed you, which was like, you know, promote your business, links to videos, sharing is caring, fluffy, all that kind of stuff. Those are the 9 or 10 ideas. And I've put them on certain days of the week in line with what I just mentioned before, how people come along and they're sort of Monday, Tuesday, they're kind of work mode, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're a little bit more relaxed and have more time to digest. So I've sort of spaced it out in that way. So it's really just designed to give you a little bit of inspiration. And as I mentioned before, and Kath, you did a testament too, you know, sometimes when you've only got 5 minutes to post something, you're like, oh my God, what do I even post today? It can be great to have something to sort of refer to give you a bit of a starting point, a bit of initiative. So if you wanted to grab a copy of that, a copy of the notes or that, just please feel free to message me through Facebook. Let's use that social media contact. So we're actually way ahead of schedule, which is awesome, but I've got plenty of time for questions, which is great. So the impact of COVID-19 will be here for years to come. I think that's really important for us to remember. This has definitely changed the landscape of businesses around, as well as certainly ours, because we're going to have to change everything in structure. My husband is a general manager of a cruise company here, and we just were talking this morning about, well, now that they're sort of suggesting buffets are not going to be enabled anymore, that will change the whole way they cater for their guests on their day boats. So there's all this change that's upcoming. It's definitely changing the way we will function in our lives. It does pose a challenge, but there's also plenty that we can do to ensure our customers are aware of our brand and also feel supported moving forward. That's the most important thing, yeah? So helpful, useful content will always be well received. And I think you'd agree with that. And as I mentioned to you before, Kath, you know, you might see a question that you can answer, even if it's not necessarily relative to your brand. And, you know, they may not necessarily this time be a customer of yours. However, they're probably going to go, oh, who's this lady? Oh, she's helping me. That's great. You'll trigger that sort of reaction in them as well. So helpful all the time. Just, you know, help people any way you can, of course, as you would do. And all this does is ensure that we're top of mind when the restrictions lift, so we can all take that mini maxi break again and get those people in our backyard, which is the point. Yeah? Take home activity. I'd love you to decide how many times a week you're going to post and just be consistent with it. I've got a great group, and I'll talk about it in a minute, which is Marketing Ninjas, and I'd encourage you all to jump in there and join. If you ever have a sticky question about marketing or a question about what you're going to post about COVID-19 and whether it's appropriate or inappropriate, the people in that group are all business owners, and they often assist each other in terms of just chatting about marketing and whether it's appropriate. So feel free to jump in there and ask any questions you may have, especially about this stuff, because as I said before, no one's been here. No one knows what it's all about. So if we can try to help each other, I think we'll move forward in the right direction. Right, your turn. So questions. Have we got any questions? Which one is the group? Sorry, it is called Marketing Ninjas, and I think it's next. There you go. There's the link for it. So I will just pop it in there. Oops, hang on, go back. I'll just grab it for you. If you just Google Marketing Ninjas, I will show you on Facebook. Oh, hang on a minute. Can't spell. because everyone's watching me type. So that's the group there. So if you'd like to join, please request access. I do actually have to approve everyone because I did have a whole bunch of weird people from India trying to join. I don't know what they wanted, but they are not coming in. So no disrespect to them, but we're keeping it local. So, okay. So if you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask away. Chrissy, do you have any? Oh, Michelle, Melissa?
Yeah, just with blogging, can you, like, how often should we do a blog? Should we be doing blogs? Is blogs better than Facebook?
Yeah.
How do we sort of bring blogging into our digital marketing?
Yeah, look, I think I kind of like the rule of thumb of at least once a month. If you wanted to do once a week, then all power to you. But I don't think any of us, I shouldn't say that. That's a bit, I think it's hard to find the time to do it once a month. I should probably say it like that. I think, as I said to you, Melissa, I think you can kick some quick goals with, doing your FAQs and sort of unwrapping them and really padding them out and then using one of those every month, because you can literally give, what's your website built on? Is it WordPress?
No, it's done with
Okay.
Yeah.
You can schedule them though. You can schedule those posts, yeah. So you might spend, the time fleshing out your FAQs, and then you might spend the time scheduling them for a year, and then they're there, they're done, they're gone. You can just go through. The other thing I'd also encourage you guys to do, and you guys sound so American, you guys to do is go on Google My Business. So I don't know how familiar you are with Google My Business. See you, Amy. I don't know how familiar you are with Google My Business, but I would highly recommend that you claim your Google My Business page and try to get into the habit of posting on there as much as you would post, as much as Facebook. I shouldn't say quite as much, at least once a week, purely because, as I said to Kath before, Google and YouTube, Google and Facebook are like this, and YouTube and Google are together. So if you can, post, they're giving us an opportunity to post now the way we would do it on pages within our Google My Business page. That then enables us, in my world, I'm like, great, I'm going to try to use as many search terms as I think people would use to find me directly. I'm going to plug them straight into whatever the post is that I'm doing, or that kind of thing, so that I can tell Google exactly what I want to be found for. So I think that at the moment seems to be quite new. I would definitely be trying to go through that. Just by coincidence, Tuesday I did a Google My Business webinar, and I have uploaded it to YouTube. So if you would like that link, again, email me your details and I can flick that to you, and you can watch that in your own time to get your head around Google My Business as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Excellent. Thank you, Glenda. I'm very pleased you enjoyed that. Can we schedule posts to a page other than our own, such as Mackay Tourism? No. Unfortunately, Michelle, we can't do that. You can, in a group, if you're an admin of a group, you can schedule posts in a group, but unfortunately not. So at the power that I find for a couple of my clients, and I mentioned before, and also just to Kath in terms of getting information, is sharing our information to the local market, to local groups, so they know who to talk about or what to say. But I think that you can't, I shouldn't say I think that, I know you can't schedule that share. You have to physically do it at the time. So you can, you can schedule it to your page, but then you'd have to put a reminder in or jump back online and then share it out to those other groups and other pages. Yeah. Do I know how the topic? Yes. So Robin, here's a little tip for you, beautiful girl. Publer, P-U-B-L-U-R, is the only software that I have found to date that allows you to schedule posts to Google My Business, and it's free. I think you can only do up to 10 at this stage, but that's stacks. I think that's more than enough if you're just doing one a week. The only caveat I would say about it is that you can't schedule a video post, which isn't as critical, but at least you're telling Google what you're doing. so yeah, I think there's also, if you are uploading your videos to your Google My Business page, I'm pretty sure it's only about a minute, 2 minutes. There's a bit of a limit to that, but my suggestion would be upload the whole thing to YouTube and then send them there, because they're the same people. So, but yeah, Publer is the one. And you can also schedule to Instagram from there and schedule to Facebook from there too. Yeah. Is Google My Business more for business related posts or the same as Facebook? So Melissa, Google My Business is more for your business posts. I would not necessarily generally be sharing any fluff there. I would be keeping it pretty structured. And the reason I say that is you think about your frame of mind when you're searching in Google, you're looking for a result. You're looking for an answer. When you're on Facebook, you're kind of scrolling and entertaining yourself. So, you know, if you come by accident or whatever, come across something that interests you, great. And then you might stop and engage with it. But generally, when you go to Google, you're like dentists in Early Beach. I want an answer. So I would be keeping it pretty business structured. Yeah. Kath, no worries. See you soon. Yeah, so I think that sort of covers it. Anything else? Any other questions? Hi, Gillian. I can see your beautiful face now. She's just popped up. Very good. Chrissy, anything we missed?
Oh, that was so comprehensive. Like, I just learnt so much from that.
Gillian.
I've got all these, I've got a page full of notes right beside me here.
Good. And as I said, guys, I'll pop my email address in here. It's on the next, I should mention, if you'd like a follow-up appointment so we can talk specifically about your strategy, you can book it through my page, which is tolitajukes.com, or come through Marketing Ninjas or through 8 Seconds, whatever you want to do. But I'm a government-sponsored business advisor as well. So the first hour can be $44 and we can do it online and we can still have access to everything. It's how good is Zoom, as you can see and experience now. Just have sent so many inside emails. I love it. Good. I like that. That's good. So if you want to do that, feel free. The only caveats are you need less than 19 employees and ABN. So if you can fit those things, then cool, we can do that. And then these are my details, which as I said, will be on the end of the on the slide presentation. But feel free to get in touch with me, message me for the slides, because I think sometimes they're good to reflect back with. And as Chrissy said, she's got a page of notes there, but use them as a bit of a checklist so you can literally go off and make sure that you get the inspiration you need when it comes to the wording and things like that as well. Yeah. And
just before too many people go, I just wanted to let them know that we've got that. For the Mackay Tourism and Tourism Week Sundays, we're offering free memberships for the next, from now basically until the 30th of June 21. I think Tourism Week Sundays are doing the same, just to help us support and grow that tourism industry here. And the, you know, like they say, everybody's in tourism. So even some businesses that think they're not in tourism, a lot of them usually are. So I'll have that link that I'll send out as well. And what else did I want to say? Oh, sorry, those free sessions are actually for Mackay and Isaac. They're not for Tourism Week Sundays. I didn't have that much money to cover everybody. So they're all involved in the definitely the webinar series. I just didn't have enough funding for them. Sorry, Tourism Week Sundays, for the free sessions. And just a reminder, our next session comes up next Thursday with Mark. I think that's 11 o'clock. And then the week after that, we've got Jodie Euler. She'll sort of bring everything that we've done together from Red Hot Blue and marketing.
Is Mark still with us? Mark, are you still out there somewhere?
Yeah, just here.
Hey, do you want to mention to the guys a little bit about what they can expect for next Thursday?
Yeah, so next week we'll be running through some practical examples, basically a guide to what I do with my photography and videography. So from planning stage, what I'm looking at when I'm trying to capture something for a client, and then how I go out and do it. So tips for you, so you can do the same sort of stuff even with an iPhone or a GoPro or things like that. So yeah, I'll be running through all those next week.
Awesome, can't wait. It sounds like fun to me.
And also just a reminder of that buy one, get one free campaign. So Tourism Week Sunday and Mackay Tourism are doing that together. So if anybody hasn't sent in your what you would like, you've probably seen the emails come out from both our RTOs, and you just basically have to fill in a little campaign form with your offer. And we really need those in ASAP so that we can get that campaign all ready. So when the time is right, when the time is right, everything will be just ready to go. It's a bit like scheduling a post. We've sort of got it all there ready, but
ready
we
to
just
go.
don't actually know what day to schedule it.
Thank you, Mariella, as well. I'm just getting a few little notes through. Thank you all very much. And just as a bit of a shout out to Chrissy's fancy background, if you'd like me to make you one of those, just let me know in your little message to me. I'll come up with something funky for you. I believe that Gabby from Mackay Tourism is under the sea in hers, and I know that Dan's currently got a kangaroo in the background as well. So if you'd like one, let me know. I'm sure I can come up with something creative.
And Taz is in the ocean with a
Melissa, take it easy.
ocean with him.
Yeah, he's in the ocean. He's on the beach. So it was just so Taz. It was very fitting, I think. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I think that's probably it for today. As I said, I'm very contactable. So if you do find that you have any other questions that are born once we've just all gone offline, which does tend to happen, by all means, give me a shout. And I look very forward to staying in touch with you guys and seeing you in Marketing Ninjas if you have any questions. I think that'll become a really great space for business owners to try to sort of get a bit of advice, like real-time advice from other people that are actually going through the same thing in situ. So I'd love to see you all. You're welcome in there as well. We'd love to have you. Be great.
A huge thank you to Tolita, and a big shout out again to Local Buying Foundation for making all this possible for us. And we'll see you all next Thursday.
Yoo! Can't wait.
Thanks, Tolita.
See you guys. Take it easy. See you soon.